the end of the day, I can make mistakes, the team can make mistakes, but I think it's always important that we can be critical to each other when people make mistakes, because these things they shouldn't happen, and incredibly frustrating, of course.
Verstappen will be starting in 8th position. He can probably still win the race from there, but with Leclerc and Perez, his title rivals, on the front row, it's unlikely the championship will be sealed tomorrow.
Sports Extra to listen to that. In the National League, Aldershot 1, Wealdstone 2, Barnet 0, York 5, Barnet down to 10 in that game. Chesterfield 1, Maidenhead 2, Dorking 5, 10-man Dagenham and Redbridge 1, FC Halifax 0, Woking 4, Gateshead 1, Eastleigh 1, Notts County 3, Altrincham 1, Oldham 1, Wrexham 2. They needed an injury time penalty from Paul Mullin, Wrexham, to win that one. Solihull Moors 2, Bromley 2. Solihull Moors down to 10 in that. Southend 1, 10-man Yeovil 0, and Torquay 1, Scunthorpe 1. Boreham Wood and Maidstone kicked off at 5:20, and that's goalless. Wrexham are the leaders of the National League thanks to that win and coming from behind. They have 26. Notts County and Chesterfield have 24. Let's round up the day's racing. Christophe Soumillon banned for 60 days for dangerous riding in Paris yesterday. Left it late to make his mark on the opening day of racing's ARC meeting. John Hunt reports on what was largely a dominant day for British and Irish trained horses at Longchamp.
Yes, indeed. Soumillon's victory came late in the day aboard Erevan in the Prix Daniel Wildenstein. He rides, of course, Verdady in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe tomorrow afternoon for the Aga Khan, whose team will talk to Soumillon about the events of the weekend on Monday. Away from that, as you say, Mark, lots of success for Irish and British trained horses. Kyprios was the star of the show for Aidan O'Brien. He won the Prix du Cadran, the big staying event, by over 30 lengths, despite swerving right across the track in the closing stages. The other Group 1 race, the Prix Royalier, was won by William Haggis's Sila Rosa, expertly ridden by Tom Markand. There was also nice success for Anmart, Owen Burrows' smart young horse in the Prix Dollar, and Al Karim saw victory as well earlier in the afternoon for trainer Carl Burke. Away from Paris, here at Newmarket, the big race of the day was the Sun Chariot Stakes, and that went to Fontaine, a 16-1 surprise winner of that Group 1 event for Kevin Ryan and 43-year-old jockey Neil Callan. Neil enjoying his first major Group 1 victory in Great Britain for 9 years. His last was Astaire here at Newmarket in the Middle Park Stakes.
And that just leaves the Gallagher Premiership results. London Irish 47, Bath 38, Sale 28, Exeter 20, Saracens 51, Leicester 18. Saracens and Sale have 100% winning records. Bath are bottom with a 100% losing record. Conor McNamara.
Yes, we're underway at London Stadium for the 5:30 game of the Premier League. West Ham United 0, Wolves 0. West Ham immediately on the attack down the right-hand side, where Thilo Kerr appears to be starting on the right-hand side of the home team's defence. That was the position that he played for Germany against England in midweek, as Bowen goes down on the edge of the Wolves penalty area. He was in a collision with I think it was Mateus Nunes, as the ball is cleared away. No, it was Max Kilman actually, and Bowen absolutely belly flops down onto the turf. There was a roar from the West Ham fans, but nothing doing with today's referee, Paul Tierney. Michael Brown's along side. Mick Dawson back in the team for the first time in the Premier League this season. Craig Dawson and West Ham fans will be pleased to see that. Kira going to the right.
Yeah, they'll be delighted to have him back in the side. That experience, such a knowledgeable player, and what he demands from his teammates all around. But it's been a good start. Pressure's on. Just here the stadium announcer saying he's never seen such a stronger bench here, just to add some more pressure. But it's been a good start, and obviously a few changes for David Moyes.
Scamacca starts in the Premier League for just the second time. He's in possession at the moment. Kilman leaning into him from behind tonight. Nouri's able to take the ball away for Wolves. West Ham in their traditional claret and blue, and Wolves in their old gold. Wolves playing from right to left as we look down. I know there's a lot of problems with public transport this weekend. Looking around London Stadium, there are a lot of empty seats here, spread out around the stadium, but it feels like for every seat that is taken, there's at least one that's empty.
Yeah, there is quite a lot, and obviously we've proved difficult for myself to get in, and we'll soon see if it continues to fill up, if there's been a delay. But it looks like there is quite a few missing. But in regards to on the pitch, that man Declan Rice is getting in advanced areas. Normally we see him sitting early on in games, and he's taken a more advanced position.
Yeah, West Ham's team, Lucas Fabianski in goal. Back four, Kira, Dawson, Zuma and Cresswell. In midfield, Soucek and Rice. Bowen one side, Maxwell Cornet on the other. First Premier League start for West Ham for Cornet, the former Burnley player, and then Lucas Paqueta playing behind Gianluca Scamacca. New look West Ham attack, really, when you consider how well they played last season. But Antonio's on the bench today. Here's Podence for Wolves, tries one from a long way out, and Fabianski seemed to react just a little late as it came thundering towards him, and it was hit from distance but hit with power. Fabianski pushes it out for a corner.
You just see that square pass, and Declan Rice loses the possession. The ball comes central, but then doesn't disappoint. He hits his shot very, very early. Fabianski got a good hand to it. I think he exaggerated the save slightly as he dived back into his net, but it's quickly changed, and now Wolves have an opportunity.
Corner for the visitors, taken by Neto on the left-hand side. Headed away by Kira. Ait Nouri tries to keep it alive for Wolves on the edge of the penalty area, but Souček is there and able to head it away to Cornet. Cornet goes down under a challenge from Ruben Neves. And West Ham fans wanted a free kick and they didn't get it, and Wolves have got possession with João Moutinho back near the centre circle. And Wolves looking for a strong start to this game. It's been a season that both teams have been slow and sluggish, and both have struggled for goals.
Yeah, they have, and you see attractive to the eye, this Wolves side who can keep possession, obviously keep a blocking behind the ball, but creativity right at the top of the pitch. Nobody real to have taken those chances.
Ait Nouri with a little back heel on the edge of the penalty area, and this is nicely played by Guedes into Mateus Nunes, and then it comes across the face of goal and aside from the West Ham fans as it squirts out to Podence on the far side. He takes on Cornet and is tackled, and the ball rolls out of play. But Wolves have made a good start here. 4.5 minutes played, 5 live for the BBC at London Stadium. West Ham 0, Wolves 0.
Yeah, it's a great start down the right hand side. Jared Bowen was unsure whether to go with the runner, a bit of uncertainty. Matheus Nunes with that overlap driving inside, a good effort.
Here they come again with Nelson Semedo down the right to the byline, swings in across, that's too heavy, sails over everyone in the middle, and Ait Nouri's able to just about keep it in play down on the near touchline to us, the left, as Wolves come forward. Wolves have conceded more than twice as many goals as they've scored this season. It's not that they've conceded a lot, it's just that they've scored very few. Each of these teams, just the 3 Premier League goals. West Ham, Michael, the only team in the Premier League who are yet to lead a match at home this season.
Yeah, very difficult starts, and so when you look at both clubs, obviously Wolves have spent an amount of money, their strikers getting injured. In regards to West Ham, David Moyes mentioning unfit centre-backs, late start to the Premier League, and we've got to get sorted quickly, because I just feel now, where do you go from this if you lose this one, Connor? That's the difficulty.
Yeah, this is Souček, little cushioned header down for Declan Rice, midway inside his own half. He gives it back to Dawson, and Dawson retreats under pressure from a high Wolves press and rolls it back to Fabianski. Away to our left-hand side. No international duty for Fabianski in the past fortnight. He retired from international football last season, so he'll have had a rest. Wearing all green today, he clears it straight down the middle of the field towards Scamacca, who's strong and skillful, and lays it off to Souček, but Souček's pass is poor and easily cut out by Johnny. The Wolves team, Jose Sa in goal, back for Nelson Semedo, Johnny, Kilman and Ait Nouri. What have you spotted, Michael?
Well, I'm just looking straight away. Ruben Neves looks like he's dropped centrally from midfield to make that 3, Connor. Just as we speak, he's dropping in, he's sitting in, which advances players to go into different areas, but he's controlling it now from a central position.
Yes, because in effect it's 3 natural fullbacks in the defence for Wolves today. Nelson Semedo, Johnny and Ait Nouri. So as Michael illustrates, Ruben Neves is going to drop back centrally when he needs to. Wolves been made to put a few square pegs in round holes as João Moutinho has possession in the midfield. He's alongside Mateus Nunes, the new club record signing, the Neto, Guedes and Podence in the attack as Nelson Semedo comes down the right hand side across from the edge of the penalty area for Podence. Zuma can only head it straight up into the air. Souček, who's so good aerially, gets back to help his teammate, but West Ham haven't fully cleared this away yet. 0-0, 7 minutes exactly on the big stadium clock as Ait Nouri tries to wriggle and find some room just outside the West Ham penalty area. Johnny rolls it to Nelson Semedo on the right hand side, back into Johnny once again just outside the West Ham penalty area, takes on Declan Rice, shoots on target, and Fabianski diving to his right saves it out for a corner. Good effort from Johnny.
I think this Wolves side might have caught West Ham slightly with the change in formation. It's whether you go tight, whether you don't, who can overlap into forward areas. But Johnny progressing, You can see Fabianski there down to his right-hand side. It's a good save. It's a strong effort, but it allows you to get forward in that setup.
Here is the latest Wolves corner from the left-hand side. Touch from Scamacca, and it's just about kept in play on the far side by Ruben Neves, who was out there. He slams it off the shin pads of a defender, and the ball goes out for a throw into Wolves. They remain on the attack down the right-hand side. There is pressure on both teams, especially West Ham. If David Moyes' team were to lose here, it would make this the club's worst start to a league season since 1988-89, and that season West Ham were relegated from the top flight. This has been poor, particularly after the high standard put in from last season. Kilman at the back for Wolves, have enjoyed the best of it so far. They come through the middle with Mateus. Gets to within 10 yards of the West Ham penalty area. Picks out a pass to Johnny, who just tries to dink it forward for Nelson Semedo. Hustles for it up against Aaron Cresswell, but Zuma's able to clear it away. Now, can West Ham hold on to it here? Maxwell Cornet gives it away inside his own half. It's the same problem for West Ham. They're not retaining possession. Podence dances over it in front of Souček. It's played into little Neto. Tries to drop a shoulder but can't beat Cresswell. And Wolves come again as Rice tries to make a tackle. Helped out by Souček. Now West Ham can try to counter. And it's Bowen up to the halfway line. Great strength to hold off Nunes. Tried to slip it in front of Gianluca Scamacca, but just couldn't complete the pass. That's the best we've seen from West Ham so far. But Wolves got back to shut it down. 0-0.
Yeah, great recovery runs. Jared Bowen, first time we've seen him getting into that central position. He drives so quick through the centre of the pitch. He's under a lot of pressure. Just tried to slot Scamacca away, but good recovery runs. But they can't get to grips with it, West Ham, at the moment. The system that Wolves have got, it's difficult in midfield areas. Connor, do you go tight? Do you step in? Whether the two goes, you're going to have to look at that quickly.
Neto wins a throw-in down the left-hand side. Great to have Michael Brown alongside us at London Stadium for this Premier League 5:30 game. Michael, the busiest man in show business this weekend, with all your former teams involved in big derbies. I can't hear a preview show you haven't been on,
well,
Michael.
It's been good. It's been good, except for the result for my former team, Spurs. Wasn't a good outcome today in the first one. Let's see what tomorrow's bring, Connor.
Yeah, Etihad Stadium tomorrow for one of the biggest games of the new season so far. Manchester City against Manchester United. Commentary here on 5 Live of that one. Earlier on today, Arsenal beat Spurs by 3-1 in the lunchtime kickoff. Here's Paqueta, who's hardly had a touch of the ball so far in the game. The Brazilian, the new signing for West Ham. Zuma tries to play his way out of defence on the left-hand side with the help of Cresswell, but West Ham are finding it hard to do so. Nelson Semedo's the latest to make a block, and the ball goes out of play for a goal kick to West Ham. But the work rate from Wolves is impressive, and they are not allowing West Ham, their host, to settle into this game at all.
No, they're not. They seem to have got the measure of them. You're looking at and seeing straight away, is it going to be an overload for West Ham? You talk about Paqueta getting in those 10 areas. Could he change it for West Ham? But he hasn't been able to get near it. Front three are pressing very, very quickly from Wolves, and then they can't get out.
I looked up some of the stats last night. West Ham covered much more ground last season. The kilometres per game per player was much higher. They were 4th best in the Premier League last season.
Is that collectively though, Connor? Is that a collectively?
No,
or are you looking at collective?
No, collectively,
because
yeah.
you bring new players.
Hang on,
in.
here's Scamacca, looks to be offside, but there's no flag yet. Plays into the penalty area, shoots it just wide of the target. Predictably, the flag does come up. We had a good angle on that. I think that was offside. The assistant on the near touchline, who's Konstantin Hadakis, just allowed play to continue to see what would happen, and Scamacca put it wide. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, it was just a long ball, that flick. And we can see by the pictures it looked like he did go into that offside position, but let it roll on. It weren't a bad finish as it just went wide, but better from West Ham. Yeah, just going back to, is it a collective, is it individual? And you say obviously collective decision, but when you bring new players in, from different countries, I'm not sure that they're up to speed with that level to play like a David Moyes team yet. It will take time.
Is this that other countries don't run as hard as the plucky English?
Sometimes.
Okay. Here's Bowen leaving it for Souček on the right-hand side. Bowen with the green boots gets to within the edge of the Wolves penalty area. Kilman comes out to him and ensures, good defending Kilman, ensures the last touch goes off Bowen, and that goes out for a throw into Wolves on the left-hand side. There are a lot of new signings across both teams. Paqueta, who's come in, who used to play alongside Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes, who's been a wonderful addition to the Newcastle team, and I guess because he's fellow Brazilian, because they both played at Lyon. I think West Ham fans were hoping that Paqueta could have the same kind of impact, as West Ham do regain possession here, but Souček gives it away, and there's groans from the West Ham supporters as Mateus Nunes picks up the ball and Wolves are able to play it out from the back.
Obviously the expectation levels, when you spend a lot of money, they're going to go up. Have they overachieved, this West Ham side, in the last couple of seasons? So you're expecting it to keep growing, but that's the Premier League. It is very, very harsh. You've got to be on it all the time.
Johnny to Nelson Semedo, who, with Ruben Neves playing deep, Nelson Semedo's been right up in midfield, almost like a right winger for much of the game so far. Kilman's got a bit of room here near the halfway line, which is the first time we've said that in the game. There's been no space for anyone so far. Good pass to pick out Podence out near the right angle of the penalty area, pushes it in front of Nelson Semedo, tries to get the low cross in. It's cut out by the first defender. Paqueta here now has his face back towards his own goal, as he has the support of Declan Rice behind him. Between them, Rice and Paqueta play it really well. Couple of 1-2s up to Scamacca on the halfway line. Bowen helps it on. It's really good stuff from West Ham, and they win a free kick for their trouble. There was a bit of flair there, a bit of confidence, and the first yellow card of the match is shown to, and the referee Paul Tierney shows yellow to Ruben Neves. Yellow card for the Wolves midfielder playing in defence today.
It was great play, wasn't it? A little 1-2s, forward passing, Declan Rice opening up, playing it forward, that little set. Jared Bowen, just a 1-2. Neves comes tight, and you're seeing there wasn't a huge amount of contact. There was a bit of contact with the momentum. It wants to stop the advances there from West Ham. The referee, Paul Tierney, pulls it back and issues the yellow card.
150th Premier League appearance for Wolves for Ruben Neves. He's still only 25 years of age. 0-0 here at London Stadium, and 5 live for the BBC between West Ham and Wolves. Souček inside the centre circle, rolls it back to Kurt Zuma. Zuma with his head up, looking for options, and puts his studs on the ball, opens both palms, and that is the universal indication to say, come on, give me more options here. And in the end, West Ham have to retreat and back to the goalkeeper Fabianski away to our left. Goals have been the problem for both of these teams. For West Ham, since January, they have averaged barely 1 goal per game. Only 3 goals so far this season. 3 goals from 7 matches before today. Ruben Neves has it at the back. He's going to attempt a long pass here, but it comes off the back of Paqueta. Good block. Rice will pick up the ricochet in the centre of the midfield. And he's got Cresswell available on the left, but once more that pressure from Wolves forces West Ham to retreat back into their own half. Since Bruno Lage's appointment at the start of last season, Wolves have scored fewer Premier League goals than any other team that have been in the top flight for that period, i.e. not the teams that were relegated last season. But goals, the problem. They keep trying to bring in strikers, they just really struggle to keep any of them fit, Wolves. Here's Thilo Kehrer even, down the right-hand side. Into Bowen, chance, shot, on target, fumble, Scamacca puts it off target. Best chance of the game so far. Bowen's shot, saved by Sam, but he couldn't hold on to it. Scamacca reacted well, but whether there was a touch off a defender, I don't know, Michael Brown, but he couldn't get his shot on target.
Well, the referee thought he had the last touch. It was a wonderful ball in the build-up, Declan Rice, and it finally falls to Jarrett Bowen. He comes inside, tries to get a shot away. It's a difficult one right in front of the goalkeeper. He spills it slightly. Scamacca there, but just agonisingly wide.
I think that should have been a corner. I think that, just having seen the replay there, I think the last touch came off the defender. But anyway, play on, 0-0. And here come West Ham. We're hoping they've survived an early onslaught of pressure here and are about to begin to apply some more of their own. Rice has it inside the Wolves' half. Pressure on him, though, from Gonçalo Guedes, the Portuguese international. Rice plays a crossfield ball over to Cresswell, who controls it well under pressure on the far side. Cornet once again forced to retreat, and any time a West Ham player gets possession, they've got at least one Wolves player breathing down their neck. Pedro Neto is down, and he is holding his left shin, and he's asked for some treatment, and the referee has brought play to a halt, and that's not gone down well with the West Ham fans.
What about the last few passes from Declan Rice? Wonderful, wanting to give, go. One out with his right foot, sweeping out to the right-hand side, comes, little give and go, plays forward round the corner, then the next time releases Cresswell out with the left foot. Brilliant play, and trying to gain momentum, trying to get his team back into it. We're just going to see an injury. You can imagine what the West Ham supporters have thought of that one.
Neto got hurt trying to attempt a slide tackle on Jared Bowen. He hurt himself in the process of that, and he's receiving treatment. Reminder of some of the scores earlier on today. We talked about Arsenal beating Tottenham 3-1 in the North London derby. It was 0-0 between Bournemouth and Brentford. Chelsea beat Crystal Palace. Conor Gallagher with the winner against his old club. Fulham 1, Newcastle 4. It was 3-3 at Anfield between Liverpool and Brighton. There is life after Graham Potter for Brighton. Southampton 1, Everton 2. Everton, who before today, along with the two teams we're watching here, were the only side to not score more than one goal in a Premier League game this season, but Everton have now done that, winning 2-1. So just the two teams we're watching here, West Ham and Wolves, the only sides who are yet to score multiple goals in the top flight this season. On our monitors during the break in play here, we're getting a close-up of Diego Costa, who looks...
He's getting involved already.
He wants to get on, doesn't he?
He's getting involved already.
He's not a passive observer, is he? He wants to be in the thick of the action.
He doesn't seem to be, and I'm sure they'll be saying to him, just leave off a little bit, relax, don't get started. But the supporters to his left-hand side are obviously not happy with the injury, and he's saying, look, he's engaging with him, argumentative as he just takes a little drink. Looking forward to if he gets on.
We still haven't resumed play. I remember there was a story when he joined Chelsea. Apparently, the first day at the training ground, he pulled everyone around, and with the help of a translator, he said, all right, guys, here's what it's going to be. I am going to get booked a lot. I'm going to commit a lot of fouls. You're going to think, this guy's crazy. What is he doing? He says, watch this. I won't get sent off. I will go right to the very edge. I'll annoy the opponents. I'll get them sent off. That's what I'm doing. And apparently that's what he said to the Chelsea teammates. So
it's not too bad.
It's not. Well, he is a player who's got 11 red cards in his career, but as he'll tell you, he's got 12 trophies, so he'll rate them as higher. Here come Wolves with play back underway, breaking into the West Ham half. Nelson Semedo on the right-hand side needs some support. Johnny available. Cornet stretched out a leg, not a good tackle, and he catches the shin of Nelson Semedo. It's a free kick to Wolves. Dangerous position just outside the penalty area.
Yeah, he's actually saying, referee, what can I do? But it's a good play. Semedo just moves it, just chips it back. You see in the replay, he just puts his foot right on top of Semedo. And so now it's a dangerous position. You've got to be so careful. But Wolves are still assessing this injury on the touchline, everybody working. But now an opportunity, wide free kick, good position, right-footed. Actually, West Ham look like they've got everybody back, a good line just inside the penalty area. Can Wolves find a way through? 20
minutes played exactly. Wolves have had 2 attempts on target already, 2 saves from Fabianski. West Ham have had 1, that Bowen shot, which was fumbled by Sarr. But this is a good position for the free kick, and Gonzalo Guedes standing over at his 7th Premier League appearance. That's a really good delivery. Dawson allowed it to bounce, and with Ruben Neves behind him, that was dangerous. It squirts through, and it goes out for a goal kick to West Ham. Excellent free kick from Gonzalo Guedes. He'll be disappointed that one of his teammates didn't get on the end of that.
It's a wonderful ball. It's exactly the position. It's in right-footed with that shape. Right to the back post, people diving all the way in. You see Johnny, his left foot is almost getting to the end of it, just couldn't reach it.
Johnny looking for his first goal of this season. He's got 4 league goals for Wolves in the past. Good to see him back playing regularly again after the injury problems that the Spanish international has had. Here's Paqueta, near the centre circle, trying to turn back at himself under pressure from Mateus, and manages to keep it moving here for West Ham. Bowen chesting it down for himself and tackled by João Moutinho, and the card is out again. Yellow for João Moutinho. Free kick to West Ham midway inside the Wolves half, still 0-0.
João Moutinho there receiving that yellow card as that tackle on Bowen. I wasn't sure initially whether he just slipped, whether he just slid across the grass. Jared Bowen has a few rolls and goes down, makes sure. It's a long way out from this free kick. Who to go across it? Will it be a shooting position? Will they try and move it? But just looking, as we mentioned, that injury. Pedro Neto is limping a lot. I'm not sure he can carry on.
2 bookings now for Wolves in these opening 21 minutes. Wolves, who played most of their last game with 10 men. Nathan Collins sent off after just 33 minutes in the defeat to Manchester City. Pedro Neto is back on. Wolves have got this free kick. Scamacca standing over it with the sort of body language that suggests he fancies a shot. This would be some shot. I mean, this is the bones of 15 yards outside the penalty area.
Over 30 yards,
yeah. But you know when you see those highlights from Serie A, and you see Italian strikers every week, they seem to score from miles out. Scamacca,
is that like a Ronaldo setup? Do you know when he's actually stood above it, he's done that sort of 2 paces back, upright?
Here he comes, short run up, the sort of knuckleball, which didn't quite have the finesse of Cristiano Ronaldo. It's blazed ugly and white. That's what happens when you try a toe poke like that. If you get it right, it swerves, it causes trouble for the goalkeeper. If you get it wrong, it ends up in row F.
Well, I think we got the answer there, didn't we, when he's tried, and the outcome was poor. Do you know when you stand over it like that and you make such a big scene of how I'm going to be stood upright, 1, 2, he's my stride, ready to go and strike it. It looked like it was a long way out. You're going to have to hit it so well, but just seeing it was a bit self-inflicted on Pedro Neto, as we're seeing the replay back as he slides in and gets hurt in the process.
Yeah, Pedro Neto's not going to be able to continue, and Wolves are going to be forced into a change here with just a quarter of the match played. So Adama Traore is getting ready to come on. He has got the arms greased up and oiled, which is what he likes to do to prevent opponents grabbing hold of him.
We talk about oil, but on this occasion, literally, he's got the full bottle on, hasn't he?
It just looks like he has got cooking oil, and he's dripping down his arms, honey, as he prepares to come on. Adama Traore and Neves hobbles up. Another player who's had a lot of injury problems, and he's a guy who just wants to get a run of consecutive games, and it's actually quite sad to see Pedro Neto hobbling off.
Do you know what? He was actually trying to win the ball, trying to set a tempo, and he's hurt himself in the process. But I'm interested to see how this substitution goes. What can he bring?
Yeah, well, off goes Pedro Neto, who has started every game, all 8 of them for Wolves in the Premier League so far this season. Before today, here comes Souček down the right-hand side for West Ham, hangs in a good cross, Cornet at the back post, tried to volley it. He to get that left leg up high, and it came off his shin pad more than anything else, and it's well wide of the target again. Decent cross from Souček. West Ham have certainly improved after a poor opening 15 minutes. They've been in it more now in the last 10.
Yeah, definitely. That little reverse pass by Bowen, the ball's coming right across deep, right to the back post. I think I could still possibly lift my leg a touch higher than that. That's the corner right in the back post, tries to hit the volley. Real poor execution and timing. The ball goes right into the sky and just drops behind the goal. Got to do better.
Adama Traore, who's come on yet to start a game for Wolves this season. This is his 5th substitute appearance so far before today, including today, and he's going to get more action on the pitch than he has done to this point. The player who had a loan spell at Barcelona last season, Adama Traore, played 11 league games for them. Here's Ait-Nouri down the left-hand side. He'll do well to get there. No, he doesn't. He is beaten to the byline as the ball bounced away from him, from Matheus Nunes, and that goes out for a goal kick to West Ham, which Fabianski has taken already. So 0-0, 2 teams who struggle to score goals so far, cancelling each other out. This is Declan Rice up to the halfway line to Scamacca. Scamacca's seen a lot of the ball today. He's been preferred to Mikel Antonio, who's on the bench. Antonio, who played for Jamaica in America last week in the internationals. But he's hungry. He wants to get involved. Even now he's doing those shuttle sprints, and he's closing down the goalkeeper and the Wolves defenders as they try to play it out.
I mean, that's good of him to start running. I mean, you're giving him a little bit of credit there, where you're expecting him to go and run around, Connor. You've been very kind to him. But yeah, a couple of strides. He's made himself available when the ball comes through the lines, and he's got to do a little bit better with his touch.
Yeah, I think in a game that West Ham haven't had much possession in the final third, usually in that scenario the striker gets isolated, and I think, he's getting involved. He's coming back to the halfway line. He's trying to get his touches on what is just his 2nd Premier League start. But you're right, Michael. It should be the bare minimum, shouldn't it? This is Kilman into Ruben Neves. Neves into João Moutinho with the wristbands, the short sleeves, the yellow boots. Back to Max Kilman, who always likes the white boots. And Wolves have got possession here on the halfway line, and it's kind of quiet. We mentioned the short, lower than average attendance here, and I'm sure that public transport issues will have played a part in this, because the atmosphere has been good here in the last year or so. A stadium that West Ham fans took a while to warm to, but I think that run in the Europa League last year was really the catalyst for turning this into a football stadium and creating the noise and energy. But difficult today with so many empty seats. As Wolves come forward down the right hand side, Johnny to Nelson Semedo, back into Mateus, the record signing, and now back to João Moutinho again. West Ham are sitting deep here. Ait-Nouri has got it, chesting it down for himself on the left-hand side. Short ball into Podence, who has a little look up. Rolls it short for João Moutinho. Now the crossfield ball, looking for Nelson Semedo, who tries to play it back in first time. Difficult technique, and he doesn't manage to do it, and he puts it out for a goal kick, and it is 0-0, Michael Brown.
Yeah, they've moved the ball around well, very, very patient. And it's difficult for West Ham in their shape to come and press them, because they're comfortable on the ball, taking the time, taking the sting right out of the atmosphere here. You would expect it to be a little bit livelier in the stadium, and the building up, the transferring it, switching the play. just fell away there, but you know, Wolves look comfortable in this setup.
Yeah, I mentioned Scamacca, who played for Italy against Hungary this past week. Lucas Paqueta played for Brazil against Tunisia. It could be a big World Cup to come from any of these West Ham United players. As Nouri comes forward for Wolves once again. 0-0 this Teton game in the Premier League this Saturday on 5 Live from the BBC. Adama Traore, first time we've seen him involved, makes a burst to the byline, left-hand side, hangs in a very good cross. Nelson Semedo jumped, wasn't tall enough, and then Cornet goes down inside his own penalty area. Referee waves it away, says play on. Cornet slow to get back to his feet as Cresswell clears the ball away for West Ham. Another decent attack there from Wolves, but they weren't able to get a shot on target. Scamacca thought he was being fouled there. Referee was right beside it, Paul Tierney, and says no.
Yeah, he's let the advantage go. Both sides now. There's a couple of little challenges, but just watching Nouri there come inside, I'm thinking you've got to down.
Bowen into the penalty area, pulls it back onto his left, and Kilman makes the challenge. Then it falls to Scamacca, who beats Jose Sa and gives West Ham United the lead at London Stadium. It's only the second Premier League goal that West Ham fans have been able to celebrate here at home this season. He's taken that well after a very good pass in the build-up to feed Bowen. West Ham United, who've had to absorb some punches, have taken the lead inside the half hour. Scamacca, on his second Premier League start, gets his first Premier League goal.
You talk about relief in a stadium, you talk about finishers of real quality. Jarrod Bowen does excellent. He drives inside yet again. You're thinking, can he get his shot away? But as the ball flicks up and it falls to Scamacca, takes a touch, just waits, delays, hits his volley. Far right corner, it's a wonderful finish as he runs behind the goal. He's putting his hands to his ear. Remarkable finish.
It's a really good strike from an Italian who got a lot of goals in Serie A last season. 16 goals in 26 league games for Sassuolo. Only 5 players got more in the Italian top flight. And he's up and running now for his Premier League tally, and that will do his confidence the world of good the day that David Moyes has chosen him to start ahead of Mikel Antonio on the bench. Scamacca leading the line, scoring the goal, and it is West Ham United 1, Wolves 0. In the celebrations of the goal, there's been an awful lot of activity down in the West Ham technical area, and I'm just wondering if they're preparing to make a change, you know. It's early in the game. Fornals has been busy down there. We'll keep our eye on that over the next few minutes, but for the moment, it's the goal from Scamacca. It's half an hour played, and Wolves find themselves
How
behind.
composed did he look there? Do you know, on the edge of the area as it comes, I'm thinking, is he going to take it first time? Is he going to try and curl it far post? He sort of sets it up, waits. Wonderful volley. It was a difficult technique to be upright, to have that sort of delay, wait, great connection. It's a sweet finish.
It was a confident goal, well taken, and you mentioned his body language in the build-up to the free kick, which wasn't a good strike, but it was almost like he was, you know, building himself up with his body language, that Cristiano Ronaldo type pose, and it's that confidence that has seen him hit that true. And if he made a mess of the free kick, he couldn't have hit the shot for the goal any better. Jose Sa nowhere near it. Scamacca's goal, and Wolves have more injury bother. Another Wolverhampton Wanderers player has gone down, and it's Mateus Nunes, who was stretching for the ball up against Thilo Kehrer. They just collided into each other, and he
just stood on his toe, hasn't he? Kehrer just stood right on the top of his toe. It's an uncomfortable one there. You can even rock your ankle as he hits it. But just going back to his celebration, he sort of runs behind the goal to the West Ham supporters, and he's sort of putting his hand on his ear for a long period of time. What's he saying is, I'm here, what you're saying, it's been a slow start, what is it? Yes, I hit the free kick over the top, and was I getting criticised? Oh, it was a great answer.
Yes, he is winning hearts and minds with goals. Here's Gianluca Scamacca, who was involved in the build-up. It was his excellent pass that found Bowen. Bowen bogged down by defenders, and then the ball squirted back, and then really one touch to control it, and then he picked his spot. A very good goal. We still have a delay. There's players from both teams getting treatment at the moment, so this could take a moment. A chance to remind you the big Manchester derby tomorrow, 2 p.m. kickoff on 5 Live. We'll have all the build up to it here from at the Etihad, and then Leeds against Aston Villa's the commentary at 4:30. Max Verstappen has a chance to clinch the Formula 1 title of the Singapore Grand Prix, which will be on Sports Extra tomorrow afternoon. We'll also have commentary of the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe with John Hunt, and that is all on 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra tomorrow. And to come next week, the Champions League returns. We've got 2 matches for you live on 5 Live. Liverpool against Rangers on Tuesday, and Chelsea take on AC Milan on Wednesday. So still a delay in play. It's a Cornet for West Ham and Mateus Nunes for Wolves, the 2 players who are receiving treatment. A reminder of some of the scorelines from earlier on today. We'll have more reaction during half-time here to these, but Arsenal won the North London derby, beating Tottenham by 3-1. Partey, Gabriel Jesus and Granit Xhaka, who by all accounts had a storming game, scored for Arsenal. Harry Kane had a penalty for Tottenham, who had Emerson Royal sent off just after the hour mark. It was 1-1 when he was sent off. That was a big turning point in the game. 0-0 between Bournemouth and Brentford. Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 2. Edouard scored early for Palace, but Aubameyang and Gallagher with a 90th minute winner against his old team for Chelsea. Newcastle scored 4 goals away from home today. Wilson 2 from Almiron, 1 from Sean Longstaff, as they beat Fulham, 10-man Fulham, and it has to be said, in an early red card as well. Chalobah was sent off after just 8 minutes to finish. Fulham 1, Newcastle 4. 3-3 Liverpool against Brighton, and Everton won 2-1 at Southampton.
Yeah, just looking at Maxwell Cornet going off, he did get caught really high, and no wonder he's gone off. We'll be discussing that one, I'm sure. Fornals comes on as the replacement down on that left-hand side, and see how that affects it. But it looks like it's like for like positionally, Connor.
Pablo Fornals, who had started all 7 Premier League games this season before today, so he comes right into a system that he knows very well. Replacing Maxwell Cornet. He'll be disappointed to have gone off so early, given that this was his first Premier League start for the club. But Fornals scored against Wolves 2 seasons ago at Molineux. Just joining our coverage here, Scamacca scored a fine goal, and West Ham are leading Wolverhampton Wanderers by 1-0. There are 10 minutes to go to half-time. Here's Podence, allowed the ball roll into his stride. Bruno Lage will be disappointed. He's got a corner here, he'll be pleased with that, but in the main, I think Bruno Lage will be disappointed because his team have played quite well here, Michael, and they'll feel, do we really deserve to be behind?
Yeah, they were good in possession. They had a couple of opportunities. We said straight away that the Nunes one that he got into the right-hand side, just sliced it wide, but a strange one there now, just deflected. Zuma just putting the ball for a corner kick.
And here it comes, played in from the far side. Not much height or elevation on that, headed away comfortably by the first defender. And it goes out for a throw-in to Wolves. Will rein in the attack down the right-hand side. Johnny's going to trot across to take it. Throws it back to Ruben Neves, back near the halfway line. Rolls it low into the centre circle to Max Kilman. Moutinho makes himself available, and immediately pressure on him from Lucas Paqueta. And then back to Neves once again, who's got the option of Johnny on the right-hand side. Wolves move back into West Ham territory. Nelson Semedo. Cresswell comes to breathe down his neck. Wolves more central now with Moutinho to the feet of Podence. Shadowing him was Declan Rice. Moutinho involved for a 4th time in this move. Up to Gonzalo Guedes, who's caught from behind by Zuma. Referee with no hesitation in giving the free kick to Wolves.
Yeah, another one down. We're seeing constant players just staying down when they're getting caught. Surely they can't all be this bad, but now it's about the reaction from Wolves. Some good passing, as we've said. Good to the eye, but they've got to create a bit more.
Free kick was taken quickly into the penalty area, but taken too quickly from a Wolves point of view, and a few jeers from the West Ham fans as their opponents waste that opportunity there. West Ham 1, Wolves 0. And David Moyes will be relieved, because it has been a tough old start to the season for West Ham. They found themselves back inside the relegation zone the early weeks. This was the sort of scenario he came back into the club at when he returned for his second spell, and how quickly he was able to propel them up the league. And he'll hope that this early poor form has just been a blip, and that West Ham's season has got to kick on now.
Well, it's got to, hasn't it? When you look at as we said, the investment, the amount of players, the quality that they've got to find a way of grinding out the results, and I think that's what David Moyes has alluded to. He's just going to be judged on the way again.
Here they come with Scamacca, the goal scorer, down the left-hand side. This time has a look up. He's got 3 teammates inside of him. He's got Cresswell on an overlap. Scamacca's patient, floats it in high. Souček wins the header, and it lands into the chest of the goalkeeper Jose Sa. Scamacca took a long time there, and the Wolves defence had settled by the time he played the pass.
Yeah, there's good runs and around that's causing little diversions. Fornals comes inside, Cresswell with a late run. I think it gives people something to think about, but as he just tries Scamacca to find somebody to the back post, just overstretched. But Wolves, as I say, look, they keep doing this corner, they're moving it around, but they've got to get into better areas that are going to hurt West Ham.
Here is Aït-Nouri down the left wing for Adama Traoré. 2 West Ham defenders are out of it, and Craig Dawson comes in with what has to be described as a no-nonsense tackle. It is fair, but boy, it was hard.
Well, I think he knows straight away that he doesn't want to run into that corner, so he always tries to flick it and go. He's thinking, I can't run that fast, I'm going to make sure I get it.
That is a crunch that Adama Traoré will be feeling as he gets back to his feet and gets back into position. I mean, it's, you know, nothing sinister about it, just a good old-fashioned solid challenge there from an old-fashioned solid defender in Craig Dawson, who's making his first Premier League appearance of the new season, has been out with a thigh injury.
Do you know, when you're on the pitch and you have a second to make these decisions, and you think, should I not? I often thought, well, I'll just do it and get myself into trouble a little bit, and it's not always the right one. But obviously Dawson's coming there, and he knows full well that if that ball goes into the corner, he's in trouble, so he has to make it.
Here's Adama Traoré, heavy touch though on the edge of the penalty area, and it's cleared away comfortably by Kurt Zouma. That was a bit of a waste by Traoré there. The Wolves, who've got Diego Costa on the bench, and at the moment it feels they're crying out for a little bit of invention in attack in the second half. How many full 90 minutes we'll get out of the ageing Diego Costa, we don't know, but he could be a useful asset off the bench. Mind you, he's not played since January, so there'll be a few cobwebs. That's a nice flick by Scamacca, and Paqueta goes down, the challenge by Nelson Semedo, and the referee said, he says handball. I was wondering whether it was going to be for a dive. He said handball by Paqueta. That's why it was a free kick to Wolves, who've taken it quickly. And now Podence will come forward, and he's given it away, and the passing needs to be more careful from Wolves at the moment. They've been careless. They have possession on the right wing, back into João Moutinho here. There's boos from the West Ham fans who weren't happy with that decision for the referee. Michael Brown.
Yeah, they weren't happy with it. They felt that he was gaining an advantage, getting into a good area. Paqueta, and he just slightly tangled, but he's mentioned something about his arm or something. Did he dive? Did he engineer it? The West Ham supporters are not pleased, but Wolves were quick, weren't they? Countered very quickly, trying to push him back, but again just playing nicely with no end product.
Yeah, Wolves have been quick to get from the halfway line up to the edge of the penalty area, but that killer ball is still deserting them. Here is Mateus on the left hand side, has a look up, doesn't fancy the 4 teammates in the middle, goes back to Kilman, who in turn has got Ruben Neves behind him. And now this is Johnny near the centre circle. West Ham working harder now out of possession and making life more difficult for Wolves. Here's Gonzalo Guedes, gets towards the edge of the penalty area on the right hand side, into Johnny, goes down early. Declan Rice just stood up to him. That was a needless fall onto the ground from Johnny, and West Ham nearly give it away, but Paqueta trusted his first touch there, and he was able to get it back to Fabianski, who clears line. Scamacca looked to have been fouled by Kilman. Play on, says the referee. Fornals tries to get it on the edge of the penalty area, but Wolves have plenty back there, and Johnny is able to shuffle it clear. Aït-Nouri here into Mateus, and Wolves should be able to clear it away.
He uses his body well, doesn't he, Scamacca there? Really under pressure, centre back, he gets his arms out, he rolls it. I'm not sure to be that ambitious. Pablo Fornals comes inside, tries to hit one from 40 yards. I mean, I don't know why he did that. He had time to bring it down, step in advanced position and keep the ball for his team.
Scamacca's the man who's scored the goal between the two teams so far. This is 5 Live from the BBC. We've got 6:06 coming up at the end of this live action with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Plenty to discuss, plenty controversial red cards today. I'm sure people up and down the land will want to get involved. And you can do that 08085 909 693 to get on the air with 6:06 later on this evening. Here comes Aït-Nouri attacking the edge of the West Ham penalty area. Bowen makes a good challenge, but he can't keep the ball in play, and it's a throw into Wolves down the left-hand side.
I understand the point of view of drawing teams out, bringing different personnel into the game, keeping the ball, but Adama Traoré's running right inside, ending up in a midfield position. Aït-Nouri's coming down the left-hand side, and they just don't get them in the good areas.
It's over half an hour now since Wolves had a shot on target, as Aït-Nouri should have one here, but no, he's pulled it back. Well, the angle was narrow, left-hand side of the penalty area, but he might have had a go there. He tried to pull it back into the middle to pick out a teammate, and there was no one there. Here is Mateus. Aït-Nouri with a touch, always giving it away, and now maybe a chance of a counter-attack for West Ham. Scamacca, he's got Fornals on the far side. Eventually he floats it over towards the Spaniard. Took his time overdoing it though, Scamacca, and Wolves were able to get their defence back level once again. And back into a formation where they want to be. This is Souček, deepest lying midfielder at the moment for West Ham. It's helped on by Thilo Kehrer, playing it right back today. And this is Jared Bowen on the right wing, and forced to give it back to the German international Kehrer once more. 1-0 to West Ham. West Ham, who, if it stays like this, would move out to the relegation zone. They would go above Wolves, above Crystal Palace too. They'd be level on points with Southampton and Aston Villa. Would David Moyes side? Here's Bowen into the penalty area, pulls it back along the line of the 6-yard box, but Johnny was the only one waiting for it, and the Wolves defender clears away. That's strong from Paqueta, but too strong on Adama Traore. West Ham fans are furious. They don't think that was a foul on Adama Traore, but Paul Tierney blows his whistle, and a free kick it is.
I'd be amazed if Paqueta could push Adama Traore that hard to the ground. It looked like a good challenge, but some great football there. One touch passing from forward movement. Paqueta, just a lovely little ball inside. Jaron Bowen coming on his right foot, tried to find a ball across the face with his right foot. There's nobody there, but it's a great passage, great forward play. After obviously just advancing from that counter from Aït-Nouri down that left-hand side.
I'm just wondering if Jared Bowen is the key to West Ham clicking back into how good they were last season. He was excellent. He was one of their best players last season, getting into the England squad, scoring a lot of goals. Jared Bowen, he's yet to provide an assist or score a goal this season, but he has shown some glimpses today. He was involved in the build-up to the goal. I don't think he'll be given the assist as it came off the goalkeeper, but he was involved in playing his part for Scamacca's goal, which separates the teams, and we've got 45 seconds of normal time to play in this first half. We'll shortly find out what's going to be added on for stoppages as Adama Traore flicks the ball out to Aït-Nouri. He tries to cross, and it's blocked out for a throw.
See, for me, if I'm in the middle of the pitch and I'm thinking, am I going to be overloaded? Is Adama Traore coming inside? Where are my midfield players? I'm delighted when they're just moving the ball at that pace across the pitch. Yes, it's nice, but it lets us get back in. It gives me a couple of seconds breather, Connor.
It's a shot on target from outside the tee, but in truth, it was straight at Fabianski, and he's a little bit disappointed with himself. Good smart turn, got in the position, but didn't really test the goalkeeper, Daniel Podence.
Yeah, he did really, really well. Turn fast, tries to get his shot away, but he's better, more intent, wanting to create, wanting to do something a little bit quicker than they have done. And just my point, they're just really being a little bit slow in that last third.
Daniel Podence, who scored 2 of Wolves' 3 goals this season. We're having 4 minutes added on. There's been plenty of stoppages for injuries in this first half. Podence, who scored against Leeds in August, scored against Southampton in September, put that latest effort straight at the goalkeeper here. West Ham 1, Wolves 0. The goal came bang on the half-hour mark for Gianluca Scamacca. He's first in the Premier League. Scored against Silkeborg last month in the Europa League. He's had 3 goals in 3 games in that competition. This is Declan Rice over to Fornals, who came on as a substitute for Cornet, and then Souček nearly gives it away in the midfield, but helps it back to Craig Dawson. It's good position this now for West Ham. There in a position to go in front at home in the Premier League against Wolves, and David Moyes will hope that's a platform to go on now and win the game and give the supporters the first home league win of the season.
Yeah, it would be a huge lift. Just now delaying, waiting that half-time whistle. I'm sure he would, as he just patrols right outside his technical area, and feel like it's a long time he's been in this position, scoring in the first half, Connor.
This is Podence trying to release Gonzalo Guedes, but it's been intercepted, and now Scamacca's been allowed to turn, and that's another good ball. He's on the same wavelength as Bowen. He's picked him out a couple of times now. Here's Bowen into the penalty area, right-footed shot, good defending by Kilman. Souček's going to try and keep the chance alive. That was excellent from Max Kilman to track Bowen all the way. He was patient, he didn't lunge in, he waited till the moment that Bowen was about to pull the trigger and made the block. Souček trying to wriggle in from the corner flag, has done well, and then down he goes, and Matheus Nunes a little bit rash with a kick out there, and then again he has a nibble, and this time it's going to be a free kick. There was a few lunges there from Matheus Nunes, and eventually the referee gives the free kick to West Ham.
I think that referee got it spot on there. There was three efforts, and he was right on the last one to give it. The ones before, he shouldn't have done it, and he's under that pressure from the West Ham supporters, and really he shouldn't have to listen to that. But good decision, and now another opportunity. Jared Bowen is being excellent.
This is like a corner right out by the little quadrant by the flag. Jared Bowen prepares to take it. West Ham have committed plenty players forward. Wolves have brought everyone back. Stoppage time at the end of the first half at London Stadium. 5 live from the BBC. Bowen is going to send this in, left-footed. Most of his teammates with the back post. Dawson, who's so good in the air, is trying to wriggle and jiggle and find a bit of space. It's played towards that back post area. Stretching was Craig Dawson. He just couldn't get the leg high enough, and it goes out harmlessly for a goal kick. Michael Brown.
Yeah, it was disappointing, wasn't it, when you've got such a good position right at the end of the first half after a great attack, just to put it right out the back post. You always want somebody to run round the back to be able to come inside to keep those balls alive, but it was over the top of everybody.
More live football tomorrow on 5 Live. The Manchester Derby, City against United, is at 2 o'clock, and then Leeds against Aston Villa at 4:30. Commentary of both here on 5 Live. This is Tilo Kehrer, right hand side for West Ham. Noses in front, but they could probably do with a second one for the insulation. David Moyes' team. Fabianski here, clearing it out accurately towards Cresswell on the far side, who manages to win the header against Nelson Semedo, but can't pick out a teammate, and Wolves get it back on the edge of their own penalty area with Ruben Neves. Gives it to the feet to the former Barcelona man, Nelson Semedo, who plays a lovely little trick there to get away from Cresswell. That was nice from Nelson Semedo, the Portuguese international. Gets it back again here on the halfway line. Ruben Neves, nice pass to Ait Nouri. Now this pattern has been used many times. Ait Nouri in front of Adama Traore, and sliding in again is Dawson. And did the last touch come off Traore there? I think it did. It's not going to be a quarter. It's a goal kick to West Ham, and in fact there won't be time for it. The final action of the first half, Scamacca's goal, is the difference between them, and Wolves still struggling to score goals. Michael Brown.
Yes, they are. They've controlled the possession. We've seen long-range efforts. Fiden straight into the goalkeeper, Fabianski, with that one very, very early. That it was a little bit dramatic where he tipped it over the bar. So controlling possession, sort of getting into good areas, need to be much quicker at the top of the pitch. West Ham have finally found the way and progressed into the game, passing much, much quicker. Jared Bowen probably being the spark down the right-hand side as he comes inside, and obviously Scamacca, he's here. He wants to set the tone and be that number 9 for this football club. Takes that touch, wonderful strike, and we've seen what it meant to him and all these supporters to lift a little bit of pressure off David Moyes.
Very good goal from Scamacca. West Ham ahead at half-time in the Premier League for the first time this season now, and Wolves, they're the only team in the top flight not to have scored a second half goal yet, so the omen's not great for them. For now, West Ham 1, Wolves 0.
Back for the second half, and then it will be Chris and Robbie, and 606 lines are open, 08085 909 693. Here are the Premier League stories you might want to be reacting to. Arsenal are 4 points clear at the top of the table after a 3-1 win over Tottenham. Leandro Trossard hit a hat-trick for Brighton as they drew 3-3 at Anfield. Roberto Firmino got 2 of the goals for Liverpool. Conor Gallagher hit a 90th minute winner for Chelsea at Crystal Palace, the club he was on loan at last season. Finished Palace 1, Chelsea 2. Early red card for Nathaniel Chalobah at Craven Cottage, and Newcastle beat 10-man Fulham 4-1. Miguel Almiron with 2 of the goals. Everton scored twice for the first time this season in the league as they came from behind to beat Southampton 2-1. Conor Cody and Dwight McNeil with their goals, and it was goalless at Bournemouth. Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0, but it's 4 unbeaten now for Gary O'Neill's side. In the Championship, the leaders Sheffield United were held to a 1-1 draw at home by Birmingham. The League One leaders Plymouth stay top after a 1-0 win at Wickham, but the League Two leaders Leyton Orient saw their unbeaten start to the season come to an end with a 2-1 home defeat by Newport. Celtic still 2 clear of Rangers at the top of the Scottish Premiership after both won today. Celtic 2-1 at home to Motherwell. Rangers thrashed Hearts 4-0 at Tynecastle. Jill Mackenzie has your latest BBC News at 6:22.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Russian troops have been forced to leave the strategically important town of Liman after they were surrounded by Ukrainian forces. The town is in Donetsk, which Moscow has declared to be part of Russia. The RMT union is warning that today's rail strike could be repeated into next year unless there's a breakthrough in talks about pay rises and working conditions. Rail services have been severely affected after members of 4 unions walked out. Energy bills are going up in England, Scotland and Wales from today. The amount households can be charged for each unit of energy has risen, with typical bills expected to be double what they were last winter. And the chairman of the Young Conservative Network has apologised for posting a tweet where he described Birmingham as a dump ahead of the party conference there. Daniel Granger later apologised and deleted the post.
F1. We had a great race, On every compound we were quickest, and the deck was very good, so we had a really good race car. Basically we're just controlling the gap at the end. Of course, then the safety car came out. I could quickly, get back into my rhythm and get into second. And it was just, it was really good on the tires. It was really enjoyable to drive today, even though it was quite hot out there. But great day for us.
F1 live race commentary from the Singapore Grand Prix, Sunday afternoon from 1
on BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Bringing you some reaction to the Premier League this afternoon before Chris and Robbie. Brighton remained fourth after that 3-3 draw at Anfield. It was Roberto De Zerbi's first match in charge since Graham Potter left. They did go 2-0 up before falling 3-2 behind against Jurgen Klopp's side. Here is the Liverpool manager.
This game has different stories. I don't know exactly which one you want to hear. There's a story of the 2 early goals we concede. There's a story of how we came back in the game, and there's a story how we threw it away. I think it's important that we first admit that Brighton it's no coincidence that they are on the table where they are. Really good football team, real team play. It's a difficult formation for us, but of course we have to adapt quicker, but we were already 2-0 down. And we adapted from that moment on. We got more control of the game. If you think about it, we could have won. Would we have deserved to win? I'm actually not sure. I think the draw is what Brighton deserves, what we deserve. Confidence, said often enough, is a little flower, and if somebody stamps on it, really difficult. So, but then we had them there, we forced it. We scored good goals, had our moments, and in the end it's just 3-3, and we have to accept it. It's of course not enough for us in the situation, but for the game, that's what we got.
That was Jurgen Klopp. Next, Chelsea beating Crystal Palace 2-1. Graham Potter's first league game in charge of the Chelsea manager. Conor Gallagher got the winning goal, his first for Chelsea and against the club he was on loan at. Here is the new Chelsea boss.
Tough game, always is here. They make you suffer. You're only an action away from the crowd getting really involved in the game because the attacking players are very dangerous. Obviously, to concede a goal, and pretty much I think the first attack into our box puts us on the back foot. But credit to the players, they're stuck at it. They dug in. They pushed and pushed. I thought we had opportunities ourselves. Very tight game. We're delighted to come away with the 3 points.
Everybody saw when he was here last season what a great prospect Conor Gallagher is. I suppose it's just one of those twists of fate that he scores his first Chelsea goal against them, but what a goal it was.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I was right behind it, and as soon as it left his foot, I thought the keeper's in trouble. He's you can see from his reaction how respectful he is of Crystal Palace and the opportunity that he had here. But he's a Chelsea player now, and delighted for him that he has the impact that he did as a substitute, because that's what we need. Steve
Wilson with the questions. Newcastle thrashed 10-man Fulham 4-1 for their second win of the season. A couple of goals for Miguel Almiron. Here's Eddie Howe with Kelly Summers.
Eddie, what a performance. That must be a much better post-match feeling for you today.
Yeah, it is. It's been a long time coming. I mean, I think it's been a long wait for that second win of the season. We performed really well in certain games and come away without the win. Today, right from the start, I know we had the advantage with the 10 men, but I thought right from the start we had a good feel about us, a good energy. We had chances in the game very early on, and all round I was very pleased with the players' response today.
Some people can say it's actually harder to play against 10 men, but you certainly didn't make it look that way today. How did you really take advantage?
Well, I have to credit the players' attitudes. I think the big thing for me at half-time was that we wanted more. We weren't happy with or wanted to be content with what we had. We were always trying to score. I thought the energy and the commitment from the players out of possession was very good today. I think it's been a very difficult 2 weeks. We've had a lot of injuries and Players going away on international duty and not coming back. There's been a bit of illness in the camp as well, so it's been a mixed 2 weeks during the break, but didn't really show in our performance, and that's great credit to the players.
Miguel Almiron was also very unlucky not to get a hat-trick today. Are we starting to see the end product that you want to see from him?
Well, hopefully, yeah. I mean, I think Miggy epitomises our team really this season. I think he's performed really, really well. I think he's been excellent. Hasn't quite had the goals to match his performances. Certainly not for the want of trying. I think he's been very unlucky not to add more, but today he got the 2. Played very well. Really pleased with him because he's had a tough international break, playing a lot of games.
Marco Silva, on the other hand, said that Chalobah's red card was not consistent with other decisions this season.
If you start to stop every time the VAR, the moments, or slow motion, or to stop the moments, they will find 5, 10 red cards for a game. You have to understand the moments, to be realistic. What we are seeing, the referee was really there on the side and was clear for him yellow card. He told me that was clear for him yellow card. After so long time to find one image that stopped the image and saw that harsh tackle from Nathan in that moment. It's difficult to accept. If it will be always like that, I will accept, but I'm 100% sure that will come here derbies and tough games, a lot of challenge, and one moment like that one will be yellow card, and that's it. Congratulations to Newcastle, they won the game. I think the scenario was much more easy for them after the red card. Even so, I think with 10 players at first half, we should do much better in certain moments, much more aggressive close our box. We were not aggressive enough, and because that, I think they scored I can say the 3 goals they scored first half. In that moment, we should do better.
Marco Silva there. Back to the North London derby. Arsenal beating 10-man Tottenham 3-1. 7 wins out of 8 in the league for Mikel Arteta's side.
It's really meaningful because obviously you have the opportunity to give a lot of people happiness and a beautiful day, and we have delivered that. So that's really fulfilling.
People are now beginning to say Mikel Arteta's team might be here for the long term. This is a team that could go on and do brilliant things this season. Does that surprise you? Does that please you? Does that not bother you at all?
We are focusing on what we are doing, and today is another sign that we are in the right direction, that we can play at a really high level, and we need to maintain that and be consistent and go for it, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
It's a hungry team though now, isn't it, Mikel? Really hungry.
Very hungry. You feel the desire. You feel as well the humility, because they haven't won anything yet important, and that humility, I think, is a big driver for us.
Jonathan Pearce with the questions. Here's Antonio Conte.
We try to do our best. We try to improve and to go game by game. We have to try to improve, but I repeat, in my opinion, and Tottenham has just started a path to try to be competitive, and we have to continue and to work and to go step by step with the humility and not with the presumption. And and there is only one word for us that is useful to improve the situation, is to work. Now it's important to move on and to play a game in Champions League. Don't forget last season Arsenal 2 games to go, they were 4 points up than us, and now we are playing in Champions League and they are playing UEFA. I think this is a big push for us to try to go forward in this competition.
Everton are now unbeaten in their last 6 after coming from behind to beat Southampton 2-1. Frank Lampard's been talking to Lee Blakeman.
Frank, massive congratulations. Just talk to us about the importance of the fight you showed there.
Yeah, great fight at the end. Funny game. We had control in the first half. I think we were just sort of working at maybe 80%. Good play, good control, getting in a lot of areas. I think there were areas we could capitalise on with them defensively, and we weren't ruthless enough. So when it stays 0-0, you worry about what might happen, and it happened. Mistake and goal. But then great spirit from the players. So I thought we played well, and we can play a lot better. But being on the road and winning a game is not easy. And we had a few issues in the team with illness coming into the game. So a couple of players were under par, but they delivered.
Frank Lampard. All the goals, all the incidents. Match of the day 10:25 tonight on BBC One. Premier League Sunday tomorrow.
having not played since January.
Such a difficult situation of how long you would want to give him. You don't want to break him. You possibly say no more than 30 minutes for his first appearance, but things are getting desperate for this side.
Back underway, no changes during the break. Both teams made substitutions in the first half. Adama Traore came on for the injured Neto for Wolves. Pablo Fornals came on for the injured Maxwell Cornet for West Ham. In front of us, supporters making their way back towards their seats for the resumption of play here, and a throw-in for Wolves and for Johnny on the right-hand side. Johnny, who's been playing in the right of a three, really, with Ruben Neves in the centre of defence, Max Kilman left-hand side of the three central defenders, Nelson Semedo as a right wing-back, Ryan Aït-Nouri as a left wing-back, then João Moutinho, Mateus Nunes in the centre, and then a front three of Adama Traore, Gonçalo Guedes and Daniel Podence. For West Ham, Fabianski the goalkeeper. Thilo Kehra's moved to right back today because Craig Dawson is back in the team. Dawson with Zuma in the middle, Sofal's on the bench, Cresswell at left back. Then in the midfield, Souček and Rice with Bowen, Lucas Paqueta and Pablo Fornals forming a three behind the goal scorer Scamacca. The Wolves are playing from left to right in this second half. Podence controls on the D, but he can't get in between both Rice and Souček, who shut the door on him, and West Ham clear the ball away. Two teams who've struggled for goals this season. Might one be enough to settle this game today? João Moutinho comes forward from the centre circle, rolls it to his right-hand side to Johnny. Johnny under pressure from Scamacca, turns and rolls it for Ruben Neves, and then Ruben Neves tries an ambitious ball over to the left wing, which is perfectly played onto the instep of Aït-Nouri. He rolls it for Adama Traore, gets to the byline, left-hand side. Dawson outshadowing him. Back to Aït-Nouri once again, pulls it onto his right boot. Clever ball to the edge of the penalty area, but João Moutinho, who's normally his touch is excellent, his first touch let him down there, and Wolves give up possession, and West Ham should be able to clear away, but Paqueta gives it up cheaply, and Wolves regain possession again. Michael Brown.
Yeah, it's been a great start from Wolves again, just moving the ball around, controlling it. West Ham just banked up, waiting for any opportunity. Paqueta gets the ball and gives it away, but Wolves are not clinical, and here you go again, West Ham.
Scamacca breaking into the Wolves half and playing a ball right-footed in front of Lucas Paqueta, but too far in front of him. It was a good idea. He raises his right arm as an apology. He just didn't execute that properly, the pass that he wanted to play into the path of Lucas Paqueta on his right-hand side. So goal kick to Wolves, they've taken it already.
Yeah, they have. As soon as again they win the ball back, West Ham, they waste it. But they found it hard, didn't they, early on in the first half, again, any sort of contact on Wolves.
Zuma called into action inside his own penalty area, swept across to get there ahead of Podence and puts it out for a corner. Just a little reminder there from Wolves that they can get into those shooting positions.
Yeah, they can, and it was a longer ball this time, the deep one right over to the top, a longer range, and it's pulling on shoulders. Podence is getting his touch, Zuma coming across, but that's what I meant in the first half, much better.
Here's Gonçalo Guedes with a corner, high, too long towards the back stick, and headed away by Thomas Souček. Aït-Nouri tries to return it to the middle. His cross is blocked. Ruben Neves shoots from miles out and didn't catch it cleanly. Cheers from the West Ham fans as it's away off target. Well, Wolves looking for their first away league win of the season. This is their fourth away match. It's well over a decade since Wolves last began a campaign with no wins in their opening 4 games on the road. And but Neto picking up an injury today. That's another attacking player picking up an injury. We hope this one isn't serious, but it's a long list now.
It doesn't look like it will be serious. It was more the contact side of it. Hopefully it's not a twist and there's a longer period of time. But again, they've started okay, but they've just got, I don't know what it is, Connor. They're just that clinical side of them. They're getting into areas now, dropping in, possession again, move it well, make okay decisions until they get into the last area.
Yes, Gonçalo Guedes gets to the edge of the West Ham penalty area, but again the pass isn't crisp enough. It's too far in front of Podence, and West Ham were able to win it back through Declan Rice, and he's played 2 1-2s, neat triangular passing, and from inside his own penalty area virtually, he's now inside the Wolves half, and Rice continues this run. Ruben Neves just beats him to the back end of what would have been a 4th 1-2 that Declan Rice played there to work his way from one end of the pitch to the other. That was brilliant from Rice, to be fair. But Wolves get it back again. Now Adama Traore on the halfway line. We've yet to see him with a full head of steam as he tries to accelerate. Runs towards Souček. Gets to the edge of the D. Souček bided his time, lunged in, make the challenge. Podence tries to keep it alive here. And Adama Traore helps it on to White Nouri on the left-hand side. Wolves still on the attack. Low ball into the feet of Gonzalo Guedes. Back to White Nouri once again. Now, Mateus to the near side to Johnny. 10 men back behind the ball for West Ham. This is difficult for Wolves to try and break them down. They've had lots of possession, lots of territory, Wolves, but they've got a wall in claret of blue to try and break through. Turned back at himself by Mateus, and then he tries to step into the penalty area, but too much. And he runs into Souček, and West Ham clear it away.
Again, really probing, trying to find that way. In the last third, poor pass. Don't seem to have that answer or that confidence to go and take a one-on-one on.
Another ball into the West Ham penalty area, cleared away by Kieran. As far as Adama Traore, whose shot is wide. Not far wide, close. And arguably one of the best chances Wolves have had in the game so far. Kieran's clearance was not convincing, and Adama Traore reacted quickly and was just wide of the target.
Yeah, it was a poor clearance from that deep cross in, and as Adama Traore comes central, right on the edge of the area, he sort of hits it with his studs. And if you want to see how close it is, there's a post behind the post, it just clips it. He doesn't connect really well. He's got to do better than that, but it was a skirt.
Yeah, that post, the stanchion that holds up the net at the back is where the ball hit. That's how close to the target it was from Adama Traore, who's got one goal in the League Cup this season, scored against Preston in August. Here he comes again, Adama Traore into the penalty area. Dawson uses his body well. He forces Adama Traore to run into him, and in the end the ball goes out of play for a goal kick to West Ham. And the referee comes back and has shown a yellow card, I think to Declan Rice, for a foul that he committed near the halfway line.
Yeah, it was a late challenge. He's just lunged, and as he slides across, Declan Rice. This is a no-brainer really for the referee to give that foul. Just trying to see it back. I think it's Moutinho. And then the ball goes forward. The referee plays advantage. Adama Traore, that little step over. He's running Dawson just down that right channel. Dawson comes across, that shoulder charge, just ushers it out of play. Great defending.
I mentioned the Wolves injury list at the moment. Sasa Kalajdzic, the big money striker, was brought in. ACL knee injury, will be out for the season. Chiquinho, who's a young winger, he's out for a long time too. I think they're saying April he could be back. Raul Jimenez out with a hip injury at the moment. He's going to be back much sooner. Could be as soon as next week. And the Pedro Neto picking up another injury today, and this is the problem for Bruno Lage. How does he get attacking players to be fit? Here come West Ham. Declan Rice, left-hand side, tries to play a ball across the edge of the penalty area. It falls here for Fornals, who tries to shoot, and Nelson Semedo did well to get his body in the way and make the block. And now Mateus is caught in possession as he tries to clear it away, and it needs to be sharper than that. Fornals once again for West Ham. Mateus wins it back but hurts himself in the process, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into the hosts, who still lead here by a goal to nil.
They do a little bit of a scrappy play. Wolves staying on players on the floor. Good tracking. Fornals down the left-hand side, thought he was going to get away, thought he would drive the line, but that's opening up, it's end-to-end a little bit more. But again, the quality side of it has got to be a little bit better.
And confirmation that Declan Rice was booked. There's a throw-in now. Here, Rice winning it back in the midfield, and now Fornals into the feet of West Ham's number 41, Rice. Souček outside of the boot, lovely touch. Thilo Kehrer can run at the penalty area, head down, puts the laces through it, blocks off a defender. Bowen reacts well, and he scores! Left-footed finish for Jared Bowen. He's been waiting for that. His first Premier League goal of the season. He was West Ham's top scorer last season, and that relieves a bit of pressure for him. Good move from West Ham, careless from Wolves. 2-0 now. Bruno Lage's team in deep trouble.
What a super finish. And said he was the one in the first half. He was creating. Declan Rice again rotating, the ball getting switched out to the right hand side. Kehrer trying to get his shot away, the block, and as it falls up into the air, I'm wondering which way is Jared Bowen going to go. He sort of touches it a little bit with his chest, then his head. I'm wondering, is he going to check back onto his left foot? He doesn't. He just strikes inside. Goalkeeper doesn't expect it. Near post finish. It's a great finish, super strike, and he's deserved that goal.
He scored a penalty against Steaua Bucharest last month in the Europa Conference League. He's now got 4 goals against Wolves over the past 3 seasons. Jared Bowen up and running for this campaign. So Scamacca in the first half, Bowen in the second half, and West Ham fans have waited a long time for this, celebrating goals, celebrating their team being in front at the London Stadium of the Premier League this season, and the bubble machine has gone into overdrive.
It's everywhere, but just look at the stadium, everybody on the feet all around. The atmosphere was lifted, and rightly so. Great finish.
This is Gonzalo Guedes, good cross low into the feet of Podence. He kind of allowed it past his body. Traore hits the deck. Loose ball rolls to Ait Nouri, drops his shoulder, drags under the studs, takes too many touches, tries to shoot with his right foot, but it's smothered and out for a corner. Corner to Wolverhampton Wanderers on the right hand side. 10 minutes played in the second half, but it already feels they've got an incredibly steep hill to climb here now. 2-0 down.
Yeah, very, very steep. Ait Nouri steps inside, another little rotation as he tries to get it on the right, but who was it? Jared Bowen this time on the edge of his area. Wonderful block.
Here's Guedes' corner, headed at the front post by Piqueta, and this is Nelson Semedo picking it up for Wolves. João Moutinho back out to the right hand side where Guedes had taken the corner. Not a bad delivery, but too high for Kilman. Comes to João Moutinho, who tries to shoot. Souček did well to get his body in the way and make the block, but West Ham haven't fully cleared. Down goes Gonzalo Guedes. That's a dive. He's not going to get anything for that. Play on. Wolves hold on to possession, but they're now back at the halfway line. He was in the penalty area. He knew he wasn't going to control it, and he's belly flopped to the ground there. That did Gonzalo Guedes, and the referee quite rightly waved play on. Wolves are about to bring on Diego Costa. This is going to liven things up as Adama Traore has it on the attack. Left wing for Wolves. Cuts back onto his right boot. Has support from Mateus. Level with the edge of the penalty area, but been shepherded away from that position by Souček. And now there's an injury for Bowen, who has, I think, hurt his face. Maybe he's got a nosebleed, something like that. And the referee, having seen the blood, has decided to... Is it something like that? I'm not sure.
His finger's dislocated.
Oh,
yeah, you can see it. It's right across. It's no wonder, really, the referee can see that. Oh, that doesn't look good. Yeah. It's right the other way, and just as Diego Costa...
That's a replay you don't want to see the close-up of.
Well, we've certainly seen exactly what the injury was, and it's sort of... No wonder, I think his hand was on his face, and you're thinking, is it that? But the referee's reaction told you quite quickly he needed the medics on.
Right, so it looks to be a suspected dislocated finger for Jared Bowen. They'll pop that back in as Diego Costa prepares to come on for his Premier League debut, second time round. Did well at Chelsea, won the silverware, scored the goals for them at Stamford Bridge. Getting on in age now a little bit. Can he do it on his return to England with Wolves? Turns 34 next week. Diego Costa gets a few boos from the West Ham fans to welcome him back.
He'd love that. I think that's the thing. Do you know, as a player coming on, booed, I thought, perfect, I'm back. I want to see it. If I can score, if I can make a difference, the confidence will be flowing right through his body. He just needs to get those opportunities. Need Wolves players to put it in those areas, not be as patient, but just watching the medics now. Jared Bowen just looking away as he puts his arm down. He doesn't want to see the situation, and he's gone away. Let's see how he gets on. They've strapped it up, tape all around 2 fingers.
He's tough, Jared Bowen. He winces, but that's about it. It's like a little kid getting an injection or something. Don't look, don't look. Did you ever dislocate your finger in a game, Michael?
I did, actually, but it was the story was I played in a charity game, so I dislocated it. I went back to the club and my finger. You can still see it there now. See how it's like I can't take it up.
Oh yeah.
So it was literally out. But,
I thought that was your finger when it was your turn to say I'll buy the drinks, and I just thought it never went up.
It always goes down.
Oh,
look,
right, okay,
you can see it there
it's
now.
dislocated.
It's just forward. Yeah.
That's the voice of Michael Brown watching this game with us here at the
and
the
you
London
know I'm
Stadium.
the first about
that is very unfair.
Team
but
play.
It was an own goal. I had to.
There's a few along this strip.
Oh well.
You know,
just I would correct that if it was inaccurate, but 58 minutes on the clock. West Ham 2, Wolves 0. Diego Costa has come on, and he is leading the line. And we spoke of the body language of Scamacca the first. The body language of Diego Costa is, I'm the alpha male around here. You're going to bounce off me.
Do you know, without affecting the score, because I don't want to predict and say I would like something to happen or somebody to score. I would like Diego Costa to score. I'm not necessarily saying I want to change the outcome of any of the game, but I wouldn't mind.
It would be a good story, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Well, wherever he's been in his career, he's got the goals. New arrival as a free agent. He scored 52 goals in 89 Premier League appearances for Chelsea, which is some going. As Ruben Neves clears it up towards Diego Costa, but Souček gets in front of him, and heads the ball away. Souček's played quite defensively today, and he's done well shielding in front of the two central defenders for David Moyes' side. Here's Adama Traore, who's moved to the right wing now since Diego Costa's come on, and he's found a bit of space. That's a good search. Here's the cross, too high for Diego Costa. Podence tries to arrive, fell awkwardly in the penalty area. Mateus wanted to follow up too, but couldn't get a clean shot away. Wolves are 2-0 down. They need to get their skates on, but they're trying. They're certainly giving it a go here. Ait Nouri on the left-hand side. Comes inside of Thilo Kehrer. Podence shoots from far out, diving down to his right. Fabianski makes the save. Still West Ham 2, Wolves 0.
A great strike, Podence down to that right-hand side. Fabianski gets across. There's a long-range effort, 25 yards out, but Ait Nouri getting in some good positions. He drills it. I always feel it was comfortable, but just Adama Traore straight away, it was wonderful skill on it. 3 around him, pushes it inside, just drops his shoulder down to the byline. Deep cross, it just didn't fall from. But what about the defending? All central from West Ham, blocking those shots right in front of the goal. And that's what you want from your side. When you're 2 up, you're a bit more confident. You seem to be putting your body on the line.
Adama Traore, who is a ball of potential. He's got all the attributes, and just waiting for that bit of composure maybe to deliver the final ball perfectly, because he got into the position there, he really did. Here's Ait Nouri on the far side, but closed down by Thilo Kehrer. Ball goes out of play for a throw into Wolves, who still trail here by 2-0. 6:06 with Robbie and Chris coming up at the end of the live football here on 5 Live. Kilman at the back for Wolves, gives it into the midfield to Mateus Nunes, back to Ruben Neves playing one of the 3 central defenders, and now Adama Traore on the right wing. Cresswell and Paqueta trying to double up at him, and he's in space again, and here comes the cross again, and Fabianski quick off his goal line, jumping and leaping and getting there ahead of Diego Costa.
It's a great little 1-2 give and go. Traore just in behind. Cresswell's thinking, no, why has he come over to this side? But that's exactly the point what I was trying to say. Cresswell's now thinking, please go away, I don't want you to do that. And how dangerous does it look straight away in that position?
Yeah, it's been a very good last couple of minutes from Adama Traore. Let's see if he can keep it up. This is Paqueta in the centre circle, back to Zuma. Cresswell now on the left-hand side. West Ham, who travel to Belgium in midweek. They'll face Anderlecht in the Europa Conference League. Then it's back-to-back home games. They play Fulham in the Premier League here next weekend, and then the return game against Anderlecht to come after that. This is Souček at the back for West Ham. Low ball to Declan Rice. Podence tries to put pressure on him, but Rice is unruffled. Bowen now, scorer of the second goal for West Ham, calmly gives it back to Souček. The body language is much better from David Moyes' side now. The little suit of armour of that 2-goal lead is making them feel safe at the moment. This is Fornals down the left wing, comes inside of Johnny, plays it across the edge of the penalty area. Paqueta's reacted well. Oh, it was a clever idea of a ball into the penalty area. Fornals will try to keep it alive, but won't be able to do so. That was a smart ball from Paqueta, and not all his teammates reacted to it, and in the end Wolves were able to clear away.
I'm not sure it was a smart ball. I'm thinking he's tried to shoot and he's missed it.
You think it's a poor shot?
I hope it's a ball and nobody's reacted. I certainly do.
He's Brazilian.
I know he is. His touch before that was sensational as he got into a good area. I'm thinking as he just tried to, get one away, maybe.
No, I know what you're saying. If he did mean as a pass, it was a disguised shot. So it was either a disguised shot or a very poor shot. But either way, if someone had got on the end of it, we'd all be drooling over what a great assist it was, as Cresswell puts the ball out of play because Kurt Zuma has a problem. He's holding the back of his head and he might need some treatment, so a little bit of a breather here. Scamacca and Bowen the goal scorers. West Ham 2-0 up.
Seeing Mikel Antonio, I think he will have a point to prove as he's stepping forward. He's getting that rub from Kevin Nolan. David Moyes is coming across, but when somebody else is coming into your position, he's been his for such a long period of time. Does he come on and say, that's mine, off you go? Nobody likes it.
2 goals in his last 3 games in all competitions for Mikel Antonio. This will be the 13th time he's played against Wolves. He has never scored against them in the past. It's the most he's played against any opponent without scoring a goal against them. Thilo Kehrer has possession for West Ham on the right-hand side, and he's played a very good ball in front of Jared Bowen. Will creep into the penalty area now. Pulls it back to Kehrer. Can't control it. Fornals for Declan Rice, who tries a little disguised shot of his own there. That definitely was meant to be a pass. He was trying to clip it back to Bowen, but he couldn't get it over the defender. And now the game is beginning to stretch. And Diego Costa, for the first time, ball at his feet and a little bit of space. And he cuts back on the edge of the penalty area and rolls it for Mateus Nunes. Costa makes his way into the penalty area. Podence picks it up, steps into the box, draws the challenge from Souček, tries a little drag back heel, which was a good idea from Podence, but I don't think Matheus Nunes was ready to anticipate it, and in the end Souček continues what's been a good defensive performance from him today and clears the ball away. 25 minutes to go.
Yes, he does very, very well, gets across, gets his body in, great covering, and I think you can tell by the applause that this man's brought and the change that's been made in the stadium. Some return, some volley, as you said, worked hard, wanted to show some good sets. It was a good evening's work for him.
So Scamacca will make way for the introduction of Mikel Antonio, another who scored against Steaua Bucharest last month in the Conference League. He scored against Chelsea in the game before that. He was away the other side of the Atlantic on international duty. Maybe that was part of the factor for having him on the bench today, but David Moyes will be pleased. He wants his options, and he's given Scamacca the start, and Scamacca scored, and now we get to see a hungry Mikel Antonio for the last 25 minutes to see what he can do. As the ball is played out of defence by Kurt Zouma, up towards Antonio, controls on the halfway line and feeds it infield to Paqueta, back to Rice, and now a chipped ball over into space for Thilo Kehrer on the right-hand side.
I think it's quite nice for Mikel Antonio to be able to come on in this position. He's been away, he's travelled, just needs to keep it simple, nothing really. I said, does he have something to prove? But really, I think he's done so much for this West Ham side. I think he just comes on and enjoys it.
Yeah, and in a situation like this, as West Ham get a free kick, that Wolves need to attack the 2-0 down. That might create more space for Antonio than maybe Scamacca was given earlier on in the game. 66 minutes on the clock. Fornals chips into space. West Ham are finding room now, and it was a good chip, but Thilo Kehrer doesn't control it, and that's poor from the German international as the ball goes out of play for a throw-in to Wolves.
You watch the flight of the ball go across, and he's thinking, is he already looking across to think, can I cross it in? Who's the next pass? He just takes his eye off it, but he's got to do better. It's going to be now the next sort of 5 or 10 minutes. How do Wolves react? Do they gamble? Do they commit more forward?
Wolves who've only scored 2 goals in their last 6.5 Premier League games now. Diego Costa's on. Will he get a chance? Here's Fornals, another shot on target, but bending and curling into the goalkeeper, and a very comfortable save for Jose Sa. He bowls it out underarm to Max Kilman. We're midway through the second half. Wolves' slow start to the season might be getting worse before it gets any better. Leicester, who play on Monday against Nottingham Forest, they're the 2 bottom clubs. 1 point for Leicester, 4 for Nottingham Forest. Wolves at the moment just ahead of them on 6 points and inside the bottom 3. Here is Diego Costa using a bit of muscle on Craig Dawson and playing the ball out to Nelson Semedo on the right-hand side. He'll attack towards the edge of the penalty area that West Ham defend. Wolves playing left to right as we look down. Adama Traore. First time cross is good. Up Diego Costa! Header wide. I thought that was going to be his moment. Really good cross from Adama Traore. He jumped well. How did he not hit the target? I thought that was going to be in.
Oh, he's got to do better than that. He worked it really well. Adama Traore had that space on the right-hand side. He just whipped it. Up rose Costa. And I'm just trying to see the replay to see how far wide it was. And it was really close. But I think when he's got that momentum, the ball's so good, you'd expect him to score there. Big chance for Wolves.
Huge chance. He tried to guide it into the near corner from where the cross had come, and he very nearly succeeded in doing so. I mean, it's an instant impact. He's only been on a few minutes. That's almost a goal back for Wolves, but 2-0 to West Ham it remains. Antonio's cross from the right-hand side comes through to Fornals, and he only had a moment to adjust, and his shot goes back across the face of goal and wide. He didn't expect that to come to him, Fornals. He sort of snatched at it, and it goes wide, but it is another chance for West Ham, still 2 goals to the good.
Yeah, big chance. Just a little clip right to the back post, Mikel Antonio, and there's uncertainty. I think it was Johnny, and it fell to Fornals at the back post. He should really do better. He just scruffs it a little bit wide.
Here come Wolves again with Matheus Nunes near the centre circle. And now Nelson Semedo, who's the one change in the starting 11 today for Wolves. Nathan Collins unavailable after that red card against Manchester City. Semedo came in for him. Podence crossing position on the left, sends it in too close to Fabianski at his time. Diego Costa was lurking in the middle, but that was always too close to the goalkeeper. Time very much running out for Wolves. Ruben Neves does very well. He's actually done well at centre half, isn't he, for a guy who's normally a midfielder. As Nelson Semedo plays it forward, Diego Costa's made the run. West Ham defenders stepping up and the ball is cleared away by Zuma. Here is Mikel Antonio. Wrestling for the ball, using that upper body strength so well against Johnny. Antonio tried to shuffle into Paqueta, who goes down on the edge of the penalty area. Referee was right beside that, Paul Tierney, and says no foul. Paqueta stays down. West Ham temporarily with 10 active players on the pitch. And the whistles and cheers you hear in the background because West Ham fans want Wolves to put it out, but they'll play on. It's not a head injury on Paqueta. Mateus Nunes to Adama Traore, and he tried to put it in the postage stamp corner, but it's too high. It's been a good cameo from Adama Traore since coming on as a sub, but he couldn't hit the target there.
No, he couldn't. See the groans that he didn't put the ball out of play. The built-up down that left-hand side as they travelled. Central just outside the penalty area. Adama Traore opens his right foot. You'd expect him to hit the target there with his instep. He puts the ball over. But again, good break, great strength. Mikel Antonio down the left, good battle. Johnny, Ruben Neves, etc.
The replay monitor just went into a little glitch there, and it kept looping over and over again. The grimacing face of Adama Traore, who disappointed he didn't hit the target there. 20 minutes to go, plus the stoppages at London Stadium. West Ham hoping that this could be a big turning point in their campaign, as Adama Traore sets off for a run from the halfway line and plays a good ball in front of Diego Costa. Is he onside? Gives it into Podence, who scores for Wolves, and now the flag comes up. And that happened in the first half as well. Konstantin Hatzakis kept the flag down, allowed Wolves play on, but as soon as it hit the back of the net, the flag goes up.
Yeah, it did, straight away. Assistant referee just down below us, just trying to see the replay back. It was great work. Adama Traore driving into space yet again. Diego Costa just running off the shoulder, and has it got a chance? It's very, very tight. As he plays it, Costa gets away. Wonderful ball across the 6-yard area. It's a tapping back post.
So Vieira will just have a look at it and make sure that he is offside, but he is. So no goal for Wolves, it remains 2-0. Podence thinking for just a brief moment that might have been his third goal in the Premier League this season. Right, a double change coming up now for the visitors Wolves. Jim Campbell is going to come on. Nelson Semedo is one of those who's going off, and also Boubacar Traore. So Wolves will have two Traores, Adama and Boubacar, who will be on. Boubacar Traore yet to start a game for Wolves, made his debut as a sub against Manchester City in the last game, and he's going to get the last 18 minutes or so here. So Boubacar Traore, the Malian midfielder, and Jim Campbell, the Welsh midfielder, the teenager, are the two who have come on. Looks like Campbell's going to play on the left-hand side of the attack. He's got possession here and he rolls it back behind to Max Kilman. West Ham 2, Wolves 0 if you're just joining us here on 5 Live. It's been a busy day in the Premier League. This is the 7th fixture in the top flight today. 2 more tomorrow. We'll bring you both of them live on 5 Live. The Manchester derby at 2 o'clock first, and then Leeds against Aston Villa. Earlier on today, wins for Arsenal and Chelsea and Newcastle and Everton, as Liverpool were held at home by Brighton in a 3-3 draw. Match of the day tonight for all the highlights of those. 10:25. Here's Podence turning well on the edge of the penalty area onto his left foot, trying to get a bend in it, but he couldn't curve it enough to threaten Fabianski's goal.
Yeah, it's going to take something special from that sort of distance. Podence just coming inside, left-footed, tried to curl it all the way around, but he didn't get a good enough connection. Fabianski just watching the ball go wide and seeing an array of changes, and West Ham now looking to obviously cement these last sort of 15 minutes or so and make sure they keep the lead.
Change for the home side. Paqueta goes off and on comes Emerson, so an attacking player is taken off and a defender is brought on, the Italian international Emerson Palmieri, the former Chelsea man. And David Moyes is happy now to shut up shop, I would imagine, and take this 2-goal lead and have a victory to celebrate, and a good weekend for him to restart the domestic campaign after the international break. That's good work, very good work by Emerson. His first touch to release Cresswell on the left-hand side. He tried to pull it back to Bowen around about the penalty spot, but he was being marked closely by Boubacar Traore, and the ball is cleared away. Bowen made a lunge there on the edge of the Wolves penalty area. I tell you, if he caught the opponent there, he'd have been in trouble. It looked a little bit reckless, but he just shot through. He didn't make any connection. Play on, says the referee. Here's Adama Traore now, bringing it over the halfway line. And it was a good idea what he was trying to do to play it to Campbell, but it's much too close to Tilo Kehrer, who makes the interception.
Adama Traore had a good possession, space in front of him. Not necessarily known for diagonal passing as the ball just drifted away. Kehrer is coming across and ushering it back to the goalkeeper.
You could hear the Wolves supporters, fans singing "You don't know what you're doing" there. I just wonder if that's being directed towards coach Bruno Lage. His disappointing start to the season for Wolves has not shown much improvement today. They are away again next Saturday, again here in London. It's not an easy one. They go to Chelsea, and it's Nottingham Forest at home, followed by Crystal Palace away, as Diego Costa gives it to Campbell, one of the young substitutes who's come on. Back to Boubacar Traore. West Ham are working hard though without possession, and Wolves are forced to go a bit deeper. Here's João Moutinho, right-footed, slipped as he played it towards Diego Costa. Back-pedaling was Kurt Zouma, who made the header and cleared it away. As far as Campbell on the left-hand side for Wolves, tries to veer into a crossing position. He's done well to get into a shooting position, but it's wide of the target, trying to catch out Fabianski at his near post. Quick feet, powerful shot, but ultimately off target. Quarter of an hour to play.
Campbell does really well, positive, driving off the line. That little drop of the shoulder just keeps coming inside left and right, tries to get a shot early to the goalkeeper's right. He possibly wants to go across if he can. Send them to the side netting, but it's positive.
On Bruno Lage, Michael, I guess any manager in October in the bottom three, people are going to doubt. I mean, his team don't concede many. I know they've conceded 2 today. How much, slack do you give him for the injuries to the strikers? How much is that part of Wolves' problem, do you think?
Well, I think that's a given, isn't it? Everybody can see the problems he's got at the top of the pitch. But for all the possession they have, they're still doing okay in games, but there's still something they could do better. So, yes, we've given them a little bit of an out, obviously a lot of an out for missing those players, but they've got to do better in front of goal than they go.
Here's Diego Costa, he controlled it with his heel. The Brazilian-born Spanish international. Cross into the 6-yard box from Campbell, was close to Adama Traore, but not close enough. And a few more disgruntled noises from the Wolves fans who are behind that goal. Their team are attacking away to our right-hand side, and they are disappointed that another attack goes a-begging there.
West Ham 2, go back
0.
corner there. You see the ball delayed, it comes back, there's a deep cross. I mean, Souček's unbelievable composure just to let it go as it drifts around the back post, thinking Fabianski's wondering hopefully it doesn't just curl in towards that back post, but great awareness.
I think he's had a great game today, Souček, and it's he hasn't done any of the fancy stuff. It's just the solid defensive work. As Antonio shoots from a really tight angle, and Jose Sa has to make a save. It looked a position that you would only think to cross from, but he whipped it and he put a bit of inward curve in it, and Jose Sa had to react, and it's come off his glove. For a moment I thought it might even come off the crossbar, I'm not sure, but that nearly became a third goal for West Ham.
Do you know what he does really well? He flicks the ball on, Emerson takes a touch down the left hand side, and he then gets into an advanced position, running in behind, committing defenders, and gets his cross across the face of the goal. Jose Sa just touching it, it didn't fall down.
This is 5 Live from the BBC. 6:06 to come at Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton very shortly now. Ruben Neves has possession at the back for Wolves, who have had top half finishes in 3 of the 4 seasons since their most recent promotion. They were getting very used to being up in that top half, but this campaign might be more of a slog for the Molineux club as Aaron Cresswell clears away, and nothing fancy, just puts it out of play for a Wolves throw. And West Ham are just going to play their percentages here and see this through, it would seem.
Adama Traore trying to get in advanced areas, it just didn't drop. Cresswell just seeing the ball away. With that back 4 in now, they've got further people forward.
Here's Johnny, tries to surge forward. Souček with another tackle, adding to the impressive tally of work that he's done today. Boubacar Traore picks it up. This is a West Ham squad that was very expensively added to over the summer. £179 million. Only Manchester United and Chelsea spent more in the summer in the Premier League than West Ham. It has taken them a while to turn the corner. Wolves can only hope that maybe in the coming weeks they might look as assured as West Ham have done today. I mean, there hasn't been much jeopardy since the second goal went in, Michael. This has just felt home win.
It has felt that. And I just wonder, the mentality of this Wolves side, where it's nice, they can play football, Have they got something different in the makeup? If it gets a little bit harder in a couple of weeks' time and the pressure increases, do they have to change slightly their performances or the style? Can they do that? Can the manager believe in doing something like that? But yeah, we just look at now the table difference, Connor, for West Ham with this result, how tight it is.
Yeah, this is Antonio coming forward. He's played it just behind Bowen, who was able to adjust his run. West Ham hold on to possession. Rice to Bowen, not a good return ball to Rice. Groans from West Ham fans as it breaks down and Wolves regain possession. Johnny, naturally a left-sided player, who's been playing a bit out of position on the right-hand side in this game. Boubacar Traore gives it away in the midfield. There's been too many misplaced passes from Wolves today, and this could be a chance. Antonio gets to burst forward. Neves the only defender back, and it's a left-footed shot. Great challenge by Neves, just blocking it as Antonio pulled the trigger, and Wolves are able to clear away. This is Campbell down the left-hand side, tackled by Souček. Another tackle for the Czech Republic midfielder, and Campbell won't be able to keep it in play. It has gone out for a throw-in to West Ham, who are almost there. 9.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, you've got to say the two midfielders have done well. Declan Rice especially there, forward pass. Mikel Antonio, I'm thinking he's going to set it. He doesn't, he checks late, drives into the space, good forward run. He comes across, he's looking for the return. Declan Rice desperate for it across the face. He checks onto his left foot. It's that man again. With Neves, great block.
While we've a lull in play, Michael, Manchester derby tomorrow. John Murray will have commentary here on 5 Live, 2 o'clock kickoff. From the Manchester City point of view, how confident do you think City are feeling going into that?
Do you know, I think they've got to be confident. I think they've been playing unbelievable football at times, as we've seen and as expected. Erling Haaland will be the talking point, whether he'll be a nice foil for other people to step forward and play really well in this game. But Manchester United are dangerous. The players they've got, Connor, they're on a bit of a high, and you know, I think the respect will be there from City. That's the difference, and Pep Guardiola will demand that from his side, but hopefully a real exciting afternoon.
We've seen from Manchester United that they can produce the goods against the best in the land. That win at Old Trafford against Liverpool was probably the best example of it. Can they reproduce that tomorrow? It's going to be very interesting indeed. You'll hear it all here on 5 Live. The Manchester derby, City against United from the Etihad. Back underway here at London Stadium. Adama Traore into Johnny, who didn't have the concentration there, looked up, didn't look at the ball, and Fornals was able to nip in and pick his pocket. And now Emerson clears away, and this is where Wolves are thin at the back as Bowen helps it on to Antonio into the penalty area, cuts around Kilman, then tried to stretch. Good recovery from Kilman, who was turned initially but got back in position, made the block. But as Wolves push forward, those gaps are being exploited by Antonio at the back.
They are, and it's going to get worse. You can see that straight away. Oh, it was a poor tackle. Cresswell, I did think it was going to come. Adama Traore pushing him into those positions. It was like, please stop that, but now he can't make another foul. But it was a great diagonal pass. It just didn't fall for Jared Bowen. He set Mikel Antonio away. Checked inside, it's on his Kilman.
Yellow card for Aaron Cresswell, who scored against Wolves back in his Ipswich days. 2-0 Wolves trail here at London Stadium. Another disappointing afternoon for Bruno Lage's team. Nouri rolls it in front of Podence here, pulls it back into a dangerous area, but just flashed in front of Diego Costa, who did have 3 defenders around him and wasn't able to get there. I mean, there's been plenty delivery in terms of amount of time ball into the penalty area. Wolves are doing okay, but they just can't finish. Here is Adama Traore again on the right hand side, stabs it into the middle, comes off the head of Emerson. For a moment Fabianski was worried and backpedaled, but it lands on the roof of his net. Corner to Wolves on the left hand side. 7 minutes of normal time to play on 5 Live.
It was strange, wasn't it, Adama Traore? The position he got, the ball was inside of his feet, on his heel, but he still tries to cross it. I don't think he could get it out of his feet. He had to move it, deflected wide, and now this is a big moment. You feel now, Wolves have got to get something from this.
Diego Costa standing right in front of the goalkeeper. Corner's going to come in from João Moutinho, far side of the pitch from us. It's played in low, that's not helping Wolves at all. And Declan Rice at the front post says thank you and just clears the ball away. Poor delivery from João Moutinho, and quality hasn't been quite where it should be for the visitors. Here's Boubacar Traore to the feet of Diego Costa. Back out to Moutinho. Now the ball into the middle is good, but headed away by Zuma for West Ham, and Bowen will complete the clearance and get it away. West Ham, who haven't won any of their last 6 Premier League home games here at London Stadium. Last time they were on a run this bad was when Manuel Pellegrini was sacked. But that looks set to come to an end now, thanks to the goals from Scamacca in the first half and Bowen in the second half, and the 2-0 lead they have. But Nouri thought for a moment he might be in, but Fabianski was able to dive at his feet and makes the save for West Ham.
I think if you look at the shape of West Ham, with that build-up that we've mentioned, that back four get in, the five in front, Mikel Antonio just drifts and occupies the defenders, so they've got a great shape out of possession, all working, something to fight for, and Wolves just can't find their way through centrally. It's going to be from the wider areas, if anything.
2 goals in almost 7 Premier League games for Wolves. That is not going to be enough, and there are going to be much dilemma and deliberation from Bruno Lage as to what he's going to do. Earlier on the commentary we listed out all the attacking players. Pedro Neto may be joining that list today. We went off injured. We hope it's not anything too serious, but so many of the attacking players unavailable, which makes a difficult problem seem so much more of a bother now for Wolves. As Mateus gets it back, big money signing in the summer. Has he done enough in his early games in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt? Is this going to be a drop ball? Is it? I'm not sure. Referees come across. No, it's going to be a free kick to West Ham. Free kick to West Ham just inside their own half. A game that is petering out a little bit now because West Ham are so comfortably in front.
It is, but you look at the Wolves team in forward areas, I still feel when I'm looking at him that they've got the ability to score goals. In areas that you'd be technically very good, or so if the ball falls, you can see one of them curling it into a top corner. So what is it? It's their setup. Is it the players, the tempo as a team? But something there is blocking, and ultimately they're not doing it quick enough in the forward areas.
Cresswell on the left-hand side tried to play it in front of Pablo Fornals. Johnny made the block. Ball goes out of play, and that's a throw-in. David Moyes has come out to the edge of the technical area. You've actually not seen him out there too often today, but just bellowing on some late instructions. He doesn't want any late drama here. 4 minutes plus the stoppages to go. Throw-in for Wolves, who are pinned back at the moment. They have a throw-in in their right full-back position. But it's been a day in which David Moyes gave a second Premier League start to Scamacca, and Scamacca scored. Antonio's come on and looked sharp, and West Ham have got options now in that position, which with the European campaign to play as well, they're going to need to shuffle the pack. Here comes Podence, but excellent tracking back by Declan Rice to just delay him, and then Cresswell wins the ball and has to leapfrog over one of the stewards who's sitting in one of those little boxes, and with his back to play, the steward is looking at the supporters in the stands, and Cresswell just going to put his hand at the top of his head and leapfrog like a child in the playground over the top of him there.
It's brilliant when he just lost his balance. Does really well. Cresswell to obviously clear the ball up the line as he's just running out of space and follows on. But just talk about David Moyes and the staff. What they'll be thinking now is how professional can we be? How do we see this game out? Don't give any opportunity for this Wolves side, because so the Premier League can do it to you. It can change it quickly.
West Ham had such a good start to the season last season. 7th of November they beat Liverpool 3-2 here, and that put them into 3rd in the table. Did fall off in the second half of the campaign, but they really were brilliant this time last year, West Ham, and that's why they've been disappointed of this slow start this time around. But they're hoping today, this home win now, which is looking ever more certain, might well prove to be a red letter day for West Ham when they look back on their season. Free kick again. Wolves' discipline is getting scrappy now. They're giving away a lot of free kicks, and the body language not great from the visitors at the moment. And just a reminder that tomorrow, as well as the Manchester Derby at 2 and Leeds against Aston Villa at 4:30, the Grand Prix from Singapore will be on Sports Extra tomorrow afternoon. We'll also have commentary of the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe with John Hunt, and Champions League games to come next week. Liverpool against Rangers on Tuesday, commentary of that here on 5 Live, and also Chelsea against AC Milan. And that's at Stamford Bridge on Wednesday as Mikel Antonio comes forward down the left-hand side for West Ham, but his passes straight to Boubacar Traoré. And then down goes Podence, and he wants a free kick, and he's going to get it. Free kick to Wolves midway inside their own half.
They're still pushing, aren't they? They're still being tight, making fouls, stopping the momentum from Wolves. And it's a classic West Ham sort of grind-out performance, and they've managed to get a lead and something to hold on to, which we haven't seen this season. But they've done well overall, haven't they? You've seen, got in good shape. They've limited Wolves for all the possession. They caused them problems early on in the game, then they sorted it out, and obviously were quick and some good attacking options.
Just look at some of the stats of the game. West Ham have had 16 shots, Wolves have had 15. You know, there's not much between them in that regard, but so many of the Wolves' efforts have been long range, straight at the goalkeeper, not really threatening at all. Here comes Antonio down the left-hand side, a tired Ruben Neves trying to keep up with him. Antonio's heading for the corner flag to try and waste some time, and he can't keep the ball in the field of play, and that's going to be a throw-in for Johnny, who takes it quickly to Ruben Neves, and Wolves try and get it down the other end, but it does feel like their goose is cooked now. 30 seconds remaining ahead of stoppages. There were quite a few stoppages in the first half. Doesn't feel like there's been as many in the second period. There has been the substitutions, but I don't think it's going to be anything dramatic here. Wolves 2 goals behind are staring defeat in the face. Kilman with a crossfield pass is cut out by Aaron Cresswell. Emerson gets a neat and tidy touch. He's been a good signing, Emerson. Recognised international player, Champions League experience. 3 minutes being added on for the stoppages as now Emerson breaks his way into the penalty area, tries to shoot at goal, and sliding in was Ruben Neves to put it out for the corner.
It's a difficult one, that. When you come on and you want to impress, you want to possibly get a shooting opportunity, but he knows as well that he could take the ball into the corner, delay it, don't give the ball away, and it's just opened up that long. He delayed it for as long as he could and then realised there's a shooting opportunity, tried to hit the far post. Neves across with that block, but you might be surprised whether they put the ball in from this corner kick, whether they play short, just to delay it as much as they possibly can.
West Ham taking their time, running down the clock in stoppages, as Fornals plays the corner in, and it's easy pickings for Jose Sa, who launches it long towards Adama Traore, who was the only Wolves player who stayed forward for the corner. He's beaten in the air by Zuma. Now Souček picks it up inside the Wolves half, and he's got Jared Bowen. Bowen, who's finally got his first Premier League goal of the season today. And West Ham fans will hope that now that he's got one, that the rest will start to flow.
Certainly hope so. He's looked dangerous. He's the one who set the tone early on in the first half. And like I said in the commentary, he did deserve a goal. Great strike, and it's been comfortable now, this ending. And the professional one you would expect now is they just waste a little bit of time. I'm surprised they took that corner kick, Connor, and put it into the goalkeeper's hands. Just delay it, see out the game. It's gone really flat, it's gone empty in the stadium, so that you would expect everybody to think that this game's done.
Robbie and Chris standing by for 6:06, coming up very shortly now on 5 Live. 08085 909 693 if you want to get on 5 Live this evening and chat to the guys about what's been happening up and down the land across the football spectrum today. Here's Jared Bowen rolling it in front of Cresswell, level with the edge of the penalty area that West Ham attack, and he's played a clever ball for Emerson to the byline, pulls it back to Bowen. Could he get a second? Held up by Boubacar Traore. Rice puts the laces to it, and Boubacar Traore made a very brave block, threw his body in the way and took the sting out of that. West Ham hold on to possession though, and they remain on the attack for now. Fornals into the feet of Emerson. Rice rides the challenge of Boubacar Traore very well, steadies himself, scoops it for Bowen. It was a clever idea from Declan Rice, but the last defender back there was Kilman, and just about got it away, and Campbell completes the clearance. But West Ham enjoying themselves now, toying with a Wolves team that looked down and out.
And rightly so. Some great little play down the left-hand side. Emerson short, and then Fornals into a centre position. Declan Rice riding one challenge, desperate to get his shot away, then tries that little dink ball. Wolves players just getting back in, but I know what they're thinking. This game's got to end.